Hello, good evening, everyone. You're welcome to Talk Mental Health, first edition of Men's Mental Health Show. I welcome you. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for registering. You guys have been amazing. And today, we believe June is the month is Men's Mental Health Month. By the way, I should introduce myself first. My name is Dr. Adeola. Adeyemi. I'm the founder of Talk Mental Health. Talk Mental Health is an organization that creates awareness about mental health. We demystify myths and normalize discussions about mental health. And we've been in existence for the last 6 years. By the way, we just celebrated our 6-year anniversary few days ago. And to also further our course or champion our course about mental health, we have decided to, create awareness and educate the public about men's mental health. June is Men's Mental Health Month. And we thought to bring to you amazing men, powerful men, people that are quite established in their career to come talk about mental health, men's mental health. So usually when I go live, I talk about mental health, but from a men's perspective, I thought that we needed to come and bring these men in so they can speak to us about mental health from their own views, using their own stories, relatable stories to share with us and let us know how we can smash the stereotypes and redefine men's mental health. You know how they used to say, men don't cry, man up. They'll tell us, always be strong, be a man, all those kind of things. I just wanted to ask. Okay, I just wanted to ask as we go. I am Dr. Adeola. I'm currently in the UK. Could you please tell me your name and where you're joining from? Tell me your name and where you're joining from. Tell me your name and where you're joining from. So I'm Dr. Adeola. I'm joining from the UK. Tell me your name and where you're joining from. Your name and where you're joining from. All right, all right, all right, all right. So as I was saying, as I wait for us to put out where we're joining from, I also wanted us to talk about all this myths about men, saying things like men don't cry, you have to man up, you have to, be a man, be strong. Thank you, David. Thank you, David, joining from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you, Rotimi from Nigeria. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So as we write our names and where we're tuning from, thank you for joining. I just want us to reflect on those myths, those misconceptions about what a man should be like, what is expected of a man, the expectations that the society, our parents, our society, the uncles and the aunts have put on men that now make it very difficult for them to express themselves, to talk about their mental health struggles, to speak up. Thank you, MOB from Leeds. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining. All right. So they say be strong, be a man. All of those things are what I believe based on my own experience. Thank you, Jennifer from KC, from Kent. Thank you, Jennifer. So all those things are what I believe usually prevent men from owning up to their struggles. A lot of men usually would not come out to say they've got mental health struggles. It's more like a taboo. I don't want to be perceived as weak. Anyways, just so that I don't start getting to that talking mode, speaking mode, as you're coming in, tell me your name and where you're joining from. If you have questions, please drop in the comments box. We'll answer all your questions. AKR from Luton, thank you for joining. I want to introduce our amazing speakers, our phenomenal speakers. All right, I'm not going to be speaking today. It's not Dr. Adeola's usual IG live or YouTube live today. It is going to be these men will be talking to us about mental health, about what is expected, about how they feel. And that's why I believe if you are here and you know a man or a woman that loves that man that needs to be here, just share this live and ensure that people join like ASAP, because it's going to be mind-blowing. All right, so let people know that something is happening here. We need to be here to hear real stories, real life experiences. Okay, so without further ado, I'm just going to introduce our first speaker. So our first speaker his name is Samuel Adegboro. He is the founder and the CEO of Talk with Sam. So he is a vehicle of change and founder of Talk with Sam. His mission is to transform mindset from scarcity to abundance. Wow. As the driving force behind this initiative, he is dedicated to empowering individuals to embrace a more abundant, fulfilling perspective of their lives. Permit me to introduce to you Samuel Adegboro. So if we can bring Samuel up stage, let's see his amazing face. Thank you for joining. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Adeola. Thank you. Thank you.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
It's okay. All right. So I'm going to introduce the second speaker. The second speaker is Mike Adeyemi Lawal. He is the co-founder of Innovate Health Hub. Oh, good. He's a medical doctor with a keen interest in the intersection of medicine, global health, and technology. He has worked as a program manager and clinical lead in diverse contexts across Africa, Southeast Asia, and the Middle East. He currently works as a specialist advisor in tropical medicine, and is also the co-founder of Innovate Health Hub, a platform that facilitates the development of health innovations across Africa. Permit me to introduce to you Mike Adeyemi Lawal. Hey, that's a second speaker.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Amazing. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining. This is going to be powerful. Can you hear me? For one reason, I don't know. I can't hear my speakers, and I'm just trying to figure out why I can't hear. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Okay, now I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now. All right. So I know we have about 3 minutes to the end of the introduction. Guys, please tell me your name and where you're joining from. I'm introducing our guest, please be introducing yourselves. I just need to meet us. I just need to know us. The third speaker is no other person than 𝐷𝐠 Ogunmola. He is the Director of Product Management at North Snow Limited, a visionary leader with a remarkable track record of igniting growth across product, operations, and business management. His tenured career has spanned diverse industries like financial institutions, FMCG, transportations, logistics, and telecommunications. This breadth of experience allows him to approach challenges with a unique perspective, crafting innovative solutions that unlock significant value. 𝐷𝐠 is a strategic mastermind, adept at identifying and capitalizing on emerging market trends. His strong communication skills enable him to rally teams and inspire them to achieve ambitious goals. He fosters a culture of collaboration where innovation thrives and employee potential is maximized. Permit me to introduce to you no other person than our third speaker, 𝐷𝐠 Ogunmola. So good to have you here. Good to have you here. So, guys, these are our speakers. We're about to dig in. We're about to start. If you are not here, you are not anywhere. And I'm just going to dive in straight away. So, because I know we have loads of stuff to deal with today. Don't forget to ask your questions. If you have questions, please put in the chat. And I'm sure people at the back end can help us, bring those questions up. All right. So, Sam, I just want to start with you. I don't know what. Yeah. So I just wanted to ask, why do you think mental health is important for men?
That's a very good question. Mental health is important for men because we have been taught to be quiet. when it's important to speak. And we've been taught that when you speak, it shows your weakness as a man. And you show your vulnerability shows that you're not a man. But from the beginning, man was not taught to walk alone. We're never built to walk alone. So there's this whole idea of where mental health comes in, where a man decides to accommodate so much pressure and decides to say, okay, I want to see this through myself. That's what they call a breakdown. You know, when you tell the fact that you're quiet, that doesn't mean a bomb will not blast. So it's ignites in you. So definitely there's nothing you can do. Mental health is something that we need to be very conscious on as men. And I like the fact that most men are being aware of it at the moment. Talking about mental health, we have so many key things that are really affecting men. We are all men, and I'm actually happy to actually share the podium with this beautiful, wonderful men here. So, men don't feel deep pain as women. No one says that. We men feel pain, but it's just that we do not express pain. Two different things. We feel pain, but we don't know how to express pain because we come from a place where masculinity is something that we need to always show. We need to always show that we are supermen and we don't let our jackets down. Even when we are breaking down. You see, when it I'm gonna use this this example. Ever since I lost my mom some decades ago. And when I lost my mom, there was this time I was meant to cry for her, and I was told to man up. I was told to be a man, that you don't have to cry, be a man, be a man. But ever since then, anytime I watch videos on YouTube where I see kids go back home from abroad, welcoming their parents and this happiness and everything, there's always tears on my face, unconsciously, because there's a child in me that was wounded, that was never allowed to express his feeling. Not until I told my wife this, because I realized if you don't what you don't reveal, you don't heal. Not until I actually broke myself down and told my wife that whenever I see videos like this, I cry. That was when I knew that there was an issue. Like I said, you can't keep tying bandage on a wound and expect it to heal. I needed to be intentional and actually looked at the mirror, and I apologized to my young self for not letting him express himself when he needed to. Not until then, I had an awareness that you are allowed to express your feeling. As a man, you're allowed to cry when you want to cry. As a man, you're allowed to be vulnerable. As a man, you're allowed to speak to your spouse. You see, we say nobody sees us, but you need to be visible before your partner can see you. Where does the place of visibility come in? When a woman needs to, there's a place of knowing and there's a place of understanding. Most people might know you, but many people understand you. When you have so many talks behind the office and you just want to open the door because you know your kids are going to run to you with a happy face, then you put that smile on your face and just hug your kids. But can your wife see the sad face behind the happy smile? But we can no longer be accusing the women that they are not understanding, but you need to be visible for her to be able to see you. And where does visibility come in? Is when you're in a place of vulnerability. When it's time for you to say, I can no longer carry on. I need you now. When does a man, as a man, we need to know the time to break down and ask for help. So mental health for me is the need for awareness, for men to understand that you're not walking alone. You need to surround yourself with like minds. There are several relationships we have. We have mutual relationship, we have neutral relationship, and we have what they call relationship what they call parasitic relationship. You do not surround yourself parasitic because you'll be the person injured. But mutual relationship are people are places that where you need to sacrifice. You share the same like-minded people that you know that when you need help to lean on. We're taught as men not to hug ourselves. But I'm blessed to surround myself with lovely men that will hug you and say everything's gonna be okay.
Hmm.
You need to check your circle and be able to know that in your circle you have people that you can rely on, because you're not meant to walk alone.
Thank you so much, Sam. I know you have a lot to talk about, and you've really poured out your heart. You've shared a little bit about your story right there. You spoke about vulnerability. You spoke about being visible to be seen. You spoke about you have to reveal something to be healed. And I love that phrase that you just mentioned, that statement, more like a quote. It's so powerful, because I often tell people that the trauma that you don't, expose can never be healed.
Sure.
It's just the same as physical wounds. If you cover your wounds, if they are dirty and you don't get them cleaned, or dress the wound, they won't heal properly. So you can have facial healing. It appears like you're okay outwardly, just as in physical health, where your wound might appear okay, but when they press it, you start to feel pain. And that's exactly what happened to you when you explained that whenever you watch a video, you tend to remember, because that time you had not expressed yourself because of what happened. And the reason why you did not express yourself was because of the society, what they expected, what they said. Don't cry. Men don't cry. And my next question will just go to Mike. I just wanted to ask, this misconceptions about men don't cry, man up, be strong and all. I mean, how can we challenge them? I know that it's there. It appears like it's been ongoing for a very long time. So, and Sam had mentioned that you have to be vulnerable. Maybe I should just rephrase and say, Sam said we have to be vulnerable to be seen as men. But can men be really vulnerable? Maybe I should ask that question, Mike. Can men be vulnerable? At what point do you know? Do you know that you, as a man, I can actually be vulnerable with either my wife or my friends? What are the things that would make you feel comfortable enough to express yourself? Where do you consider your own safe place to be able to say, oh, I'm not feeling this way, and you're not afraid that you'll be judged or you'll be condemned or you'll be expected to man up, like Sam had said?
Yeah, thank you so much. As I said earlier, I'm so excited having this kind of conversation with great minds, right? Yeah, I think let's start from the beginning, right? And the beginning is what the society defines as a man, right? So the society defines a man to be that human being that has strength, right? Society has defined a man as that person that's able to bottle up emotions, right? Society has defined a man that will be the provider, the protector. And because I know that we have a lot of listeners across the globe, I'm very careful in my choice of word. There's nothing wrong in being a provider and a protector, right? But the problem with that is that when you don't meet the responsibility, do you have something to leverage on? Do you have a support? Do people really understand what you are going through? I think that's where the problem is, right? So of course, men are supposed to be responsible. But if they say you should provide for your family and you don't meet up, then what happens, right? Then coming back to vulnerability, see, men, we were taught not to cry, right? I mean, if you must even cry, you don't cry to your mom, you cry to your dad, probably, right? You see, these are what the society have actually defined us with, right? And, it's not difficult to now say, if I go to this person and tell this person that this is the way I feel, there's a possibility that I will be judged as being weak. Nobody wants to be judged as being weak. That's one point. The second part is the fact that, somebody once said that, who do you want to be vulnerable to, right? Because also, because these are some things that push people back from being vulnerable. I'm happy to be vulnerable, but do I want to be vulnerable to someone again that will take my story and that become the next story on social media? So these are things that are really pushing men away from not being vulnerable, right? Then again is the fact that there is this peer pressure, and that also takes me to this big, conflict about masculinity and and the concept of who should be a man, and the concept of feminism and all those. You will see all those kind of battle, going on social media. And if you look at what those definitions, especially for a man, is becoming, is that is now defining a new set of men that should be alpha and omega, right? They call them the alpha male, right? They should be able to do everything for themselves. They don't need to ask questions. They don't need opinion from people. They should not be vulnerable. If you are vulnerable, you are being weak. Yeah. So all this actually, bring together that idea that you shouldn't discuss whatever is going on with you as a man in terms of your mental health with anybody else, because it shows weakness, and of course, people always feel that they shouldn't be seen as being weak generally.
Let me pick on Dr. Mike's discussion here. Sorry, I'm batching it. So when you talk about vulnerability, there's what they call safe space. If a man understands that he is safe with his partner or with a group of friends, then he can divulge things like what Dr. Mike says. But what about a man divulges sensitive information to his partner, and at a very slight argument, she uses it as an advantage against him? What then happens? That's what happens. That's why you see most men, when it comes to vulnerability, it's a sensitive part that we need to allow them get to that point of safety before a man can speak. Men have emotions that run through them. And I'll tell you, men have feelings, but for them to speak, they rather say, I'm okay. I'm bottle teasing them because they feel it's easier when nobody understands it, rather than expressing myself to vulnerable people that will use it against me. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you for explaining that part of when men are vulnerable, when they say their minds, what do we do with the information given? Do we rush the social media to say the things? Do we use those words against them when we have the next discussion? All of these things are what make men find it difficult to express themselves. And my next question will go to Deji. Excuse me. I was going to ask, does that mean that because we are all humans, right? A male, female. Sometimes when I share my experience with, excuse me, please. All right. So sometimes when I share my experience with a female friend, they can use it against me. Does that mean that I should not talk about my experience or my feelings or not find another person that will be able to understand me? Why is it that it's difficult for men to continue to be vulnerable, even if they've been, they've been let down by someone before?
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Adeola. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Dr. Mike, for those feedback you had given. Those are outstanding statements. Okay. First off, I'd just like to piggyback on what Dr. Mike mentioned. What has the society termed men to be? You're supposed to be that Superman. Have it all together. Know what next to do. You should be the person that should be looked up to for the next step, the vision of what next should be done. When a man gets hot, especially when he becomes vulnerable to people, the first thing that happens is they go into their shell and they lock up completely. They get to that point where they don't even share at all. And I know that is one of the biggest things that hurts a man. For men to come out of their shell again, to begin to speak to other people, that's when they need to start small. Start small. That would be my own watchword for any man out there who has been hurt before, who has been vulnerable to someone or the other, and that person has hurt them by either spreading information or using that information, has weaponized that information and used it against them, especially in their at the lowest point of their life. Start small. Look for trusted friends this time. start by entrusting them with subtly start entrusting them with some information, right? And then watch how they process that information, how they use it, and watch their body language. Once you see the body language is positive, even after having those conversations with them, and you see that they are ready to be part of your support system to help you grow, then you know that you can then increase some of the information you've given to the person, right? And then watch again, right? You can't trust people except you're willing to take risk, right? And one of my very good friend who is here also, Dr. Mike, have made a statement in some other events that we were, and I held on to it so strongly. He said we need to learn how to fail forward, right? Also continually fail gradually. So you put your trust in someone, give them little of it, and you see that they give you good feedback, or they work with it, and you can see the result of what you've entrusted into their hands. Then you can then entrust them with more. Even the Bible has said it. If you give someone little and the person has done well with it, what do? You give them more. So those set of people are the people you can get vulnerable around. If you speak to people and they do not, their body language suddenly change, or you see the third party out there begin to respond to you in a certain way just because this information has been let out of the bag, please do not take it as the final blow. We have good people out there who are willing to support you. So look for trusted friends, people who have the same line, who are in the same line of interest with you, people who have the same type of belief system like you, and people who are strong-minded like you, who want to support you in your journey.
I mean, thank you so much. I love what you said, and it appears like you're just beginning to answer my next question in terms of how to challenge this myth and how to change the narratives. Because what we're talking about today is smashing the stereotypes and redefining men's mental health. We're trying to say that even if you've been hurt in the past by some set of people, even if you've been vulnerable and those words have been used against you, you can learn to trust other people again. There are good people out there. There are people that you can trust out there, and you don't have to give up on that. You can always start to invest in those relationships. And I just wanted to ask, what are the other ways by which we can challenge this myth? So we've mentioned a lot of myths about men don't cry, men be strong, and I suppose we were taught that way. We've lived our lives that way, and now we want to. It's just like a fish that is now dry. You want to now break the fish. I'm used to not talking. I rather deal with my stuff by myself. And how then do we start to change this narrative? How do we encourage? I know Deji has mentioned a few of trying to encourage us to talk about this, to invest in trusted people, to invest in people gradually and start to trust people again. But are there other ways by which we can start to change these narratives? Deji, I think I'll just go back to you.
Yeah. Okay. I understand what the society, how they've labeled men, right? I know, just like I'm very conscious there are a lot of people who are listening to us from various parts of the world, and their own definition of men could be totally different. But one of the things that the society has done over the years is to put men in the front of the battles and the face of the challenges, right? They try to, and over the years, what we have forgotten, I think if we date it back to the Second World War, when all men were thrown out of the war, and then we had women back at home, right? And something happened during that period that our generation has not yet overcome. We've not yet overcome, but we do not know. So let me just give some little explanation. Now, women have started to take very sensitive roles also, right? And men forget, they seem to think that they have to be that strong man in the face of the women, right? Now we equally have women around us, right, who understand what it takes to get the job done, right? And in order for us to bust this stereotype that we have right now, thinking that only women should cry, should show emotion, and then men should lock everything up, is actually wrong. An average man or anyone who is a human, you comprise of emotions, intellect, and your will, right? And there's nothing wrong as a man to show your emotions. What we always do as men is to show our intellect and our will power. And then we forget, we do not want to show that part of our emotion. And that part of our emotion has actually led to our undoing. And the only way we can bust that is that an average man has now become very weak in expressing themselves emotionally. And that leads to one of the major problems that men have, which is not being able to communicate. An average man do not communicate effectively. And that is where the problem is. So when they cannot communicate the challenges they are going through effectively, either non-verbal or verbally, right? They keep bottling things up, and then it always lead into what Sam had mentioned, the bomb blast, and then messes up a lot of things. So lack of communication skills is what always lead men to always fall into this trap, right? Because they bottle things up, right? They don't express themselves. And you can express yourself as a man, right, to people in a way that doesn't still mess up your ego. There's a way you can, but we all have to learn these communication skills. And that is why we're here today, to also support other men out there that you need to communicate to get out of that situation where we are right now, where we have been labeled that do not speak about what you're going through, don't talk to people, right? And we all know that that's the gateway.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Sam, I know you want to say something, but I just wanted to say that when you say you need to learn to communicate, I mean, I'm just wondering, how do we do it? Like, what do we do? Like, people want to know how to do things, more practical tips. I don't know if this is what Sam wanted to say. Sam, you can jump on that and answer, and also add to what you wanted to say.
Yeah, I can. I'll give the baton back to DJ on that. Let me just bring up some. So basically, yeah. Back to what they just said talking about. There's a place for open communication. Because where they said the same place that you got traumatized cannot be the place you get healed from. You need to leave that environment. Leaving the environment means that I have a friend. Okay, I have a couple of friends that we don't see. They have different places in the world, right? That we don't see. But basically, whenever I have a need to call a friend, I call on them. So there's a place for being vulnerable with friends that you don't see every day. That's another way. Most people are more open to communicate with a friend that you've not seen, but this friend is a friend that will come from a place of empathy. Judgment and empathy cannot lie in the same place. That's why most people find it difficult to actually share with their friends around them, or maybe their spouse, and everything, because they understand the spouse is going to come from a place of judgment, but a place of empathy. And that's where this issue of most men goes to sex workers, not because they want to have sex in quotes, let me use the word, but most of them pay just for them to hear them talk. Some people are bottled up because they know they're talking people that wouldn't judge them, but they'll listen to understand how they feel. Now, there's one thing about communication. When you communicate and really pour out yourself, there's a relief. And when there's a relief, there's a clarity. You cannot be clear when everything is all choked up. So where DJ was talking about open communication, there has to be an environment or platform where you yourself need to understand that I need this help. Intentionality. You see, you need to be aware that you are in trouble. You need to know that I need help. Where the help is going to come from, it doesn't matter, but you need to tell yourself that I need help out of this issue. Because when it comes to, you see, I've come to realize so many things. Okay, there was a time, I'll use my own story again. There was a time I was made redundant. I think 2 years ago. I think Deji was aware. I was made redundant to my workplace, and that was the same time my wife was pregnant with Tefan, the last baby. At that point, I was in a place of uncertainty. I was not sure of what's going to happen next. But there's a word my wife told me. Every company will be glad to have you. I held on to that word, and I held on. And there's a friend of mine that called me. You know what he told me? He said every day is not a bad day. There'll be a day that you get your congratulations. Those words are words that kept me going. So in the place of openness, you need to find people that genuinely want to pull you out. You know, in this process, we have friends that we have friends that you need to have a friend that can push. You need to have a friend that can pull, and you have a friend that can promote you. Because when you cannot see, when you are blurred, can you see yourself? Can you move to the next to your friend's eye? Because there's some time you can't even motivate yourself when you're deep in it. Because can someone hold your hand and say, "I'll work with you"? Are you able to trust the person? That's a place of you being intentional that I need help. I not argue with your helper. Yeah. So you need to be intentional to understand that I need help and let the person pull you through the process.
Mm.
I think it has to still comes with open communication and actually having people that you don't see every day. That's the number one step. People that you don't see every day, you'll be able to. I think it helps you to open up because you know that after you drop that call, that person is not your daily lives. Rather than I talk to DJ, I know the next day I'm going to see him the next day. Then I'll feel like, okay, if he acts if a certain way, I'll say, is it because I told him this? But if I have a friend far away that we don't talk, but I know if I call you, you give me what. So I think that's the first step you need to do. Have people that are accountable, people that really love you for who you are, people that will talk to you from a place of empathy. Empathy, I stress that word, empathy. Talk from a place of empathy is someone understanding your situation and talking to you from your point of, not just talking amiss. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just
Okay.
want to add something, right?
Go ahead.
I think that would just help the women out there to understand what really break men. When a man cannot provide, when a man do not have cash in his account, that is how a man sees his worth, by the value he brings to the table.
True.
And those are the lowest point of a man when he feels that he cannot provide for his family, he cannot provide for himself. And it is worse off when it is rubbed off on him. Someone now try to make it re-echo in his ear that he is a failure. So we need to understand that that is one of the biggest problems that men have. Second problem is when a man is not being able to lead in an environment that he feels that he is an authority. When his ego is being caged, right? Those are the two major problems that we've seen that men have, which is the ego side and the financial side of things. Sam just mentioned something that I need us to hold on to very well. Accountability partners. The first place that a man can be vulnerable is to be vulnerable to his accountability partner. Every man should have an accountability partner. I will recommend a fellow man, right? But when you are having challenges, if it's in the relationship side of things, probably marriage, and you want to understand how the women think to fix things, right? Your accountability partner at that moment should not be a man. It should be a woman, because the man will keep re-emphasizing what you want to hear. But the woman is going to make you show your total weakness and how you need to fix things. Just like Sam had mentioned, if you don't know your sickness, you can't heal. It's as simple as that, right? So for a man, when he gets to that point of the financial challenges that a man is going, that when he has financial challenges, the best is to go around people who inspire you. Let me talk about my personal experience, right? I've had some time in my journey where I had some financial situation where I feel that I am not able to provide. But I have some certain accountability partners that when I call them and I tell them, and the first thing I tell them is that I don't know, I can't take it any longer. This is a problem I have. right? And the reason why I speak to them like that, because over the years, right, they've been my accountability partner. One of my longest accountability partner has been with me for over 2 decades right now. If there's anyone among my friends that I don't joke with him, any other person, if anything happens, I run to him. I say, this is a problem I face. What do you think? And then one of the major things he's very good at is to make me know my weaknesses first. But when it comes to the area of probably managing my probably the area of leadership, and I know some other people I go to, right, and I can talk to them. So as a man, finances, the relationship side of things, and thirdly, the side of leadership and the ego. Will I put it that way? So those are the major. And just like to answer that part of your question, how do we now communicate when we have this? We need to start with, just like I mentioned initially, start with those accountability partners. Start with them, right? And once you've learned from them and you can start working on some areas in your life, right? And then you can now begin to share with other people probably that could guide you on the way. Yeah.
All right, powerful, powerful. You've really done really good justice to all of this, information. I hope that we are learning. I hope the comment section is bubbling. If this is making sense to you, if it is inspiring you, please just be dropping the quotes, drop the nuggets, drop it in the comment section. Let's know that it's mind-blowing. Let's know that you're relating to this. And if you have questions, drop your questions in the comment box as well. We're here to answer all your questions. I'm just a bit curious. Yeah, you've mentioned accountability partners, and this question will go to Mike. Accountability partners, people that will support you, have friends. But what happens when a man does not have a supportive family or friends? What do you do? What do you do when you don't have someone to support you?
Yeah, I mean that would be so unfortunate, right? Because I think I had a discussion with someone, and I was talking about, you see, when we talk about behind, I know this also might be controversial. Behind every successful man, there is a woman. It's not literally saying that a woman is less than a man, or probably a man is more superior, but it's just telling you that you see, every man need a push. And you don't push people from the front, you push people from behind, right? So, I mean, yeah. So that also tells how important a family is to a man, and it also goes to a woman anyway, behind a successful woman also is also a man anyway. But since we're talking about men, so I will leave that at that. So, yeah, I mean, for me, I will just still go back to what Deji and Sam talk about. If there is no supportive family, that is going to be a lot of discussion to have, So you want to talk about, maybe you're talking about family, you're talking about married people, so probably you're talking about the wife, then that means something is wrong. That's a different discussion entirely. You're talking about maybe a young man that's single, probably is within his community, is not that kind of support. Then again, there's a different approach to that, right? But again, it still goes back to, having someone you can go back to, because you need to fix that first, The fact that you don't get that kind of support you should get from a family, you need to fix that first. But again, if you don't have a supportive family, again, is that depending on whatever you are going through, depending on the level it is, and I think we're going to discuss this again, is that there are professional support available. So I think we don't talk more about this because, people think by the time you say, oh, I need to see a therapist, then I'm going, then something is going on. Maybe I'm getting crazy, But it's not like that, In fact, I was like, every responsible or every person should have what I call, and because I'm from the medical field, I would say non-emergency, kind of appointment to the therapist. Meaning that you should make it normalizing a therapist, right? So yeah, this will also help you, in terms of whatever you are going through, as an individual. But I just want to say something again, still going back to how do we really kind of manage all these stereotypes, or coming to men. I just want to say, tell a story. You see, as a young chap, I remember I was probably 14, and I remember walking down the street with my older sister, bigger than I was, And a guy, that was a long time, attacked my sister, and I fought back. And so when I got home, I was praised like that man. I was praised. I was like, oh, and I was told that is what men should do. Yeah, that is so this is cultural things that have over time, of course, has been put inside of us, right? But again, you come to realize that if you don't have this kind of self-awareness to know that you have some things have been input in you that you need to work on as a man, then of course there might be a problem. And that, there's something we call about insight, right? Self-awareness to say, okay, yes, these are the stereotypes, it doesn't really define who I am, but these are things that culturally or, societal kind of things that have been input in us, So I would say that, yeah, you have to be aware. You have to identify them because we actually come from different cultures, right? So you must know what your culture has defined as a man. When you know that, that is the first step. The second step, of course, is to now start breaking them down. That, okay, this one that says that I must be aggressive as a man, it's not for me. This one that says that, I shouldn't discuss with my wife because I'm going through something, because if you discuss, then it's a sign of weakness. So I think you have to have that insight, and you start breaking them down one after the other.
Wow. Thank you so much. I love the part that you had mentioned about therapy. As a therapist, that's one of the things that excites me. And I know that we offer free counseling therapy sessions at Talk Mental Health. And believe me, I can count the number of times that we've had male therapists, male clients, male clients. We have lots of female clients coming in, but maybe male clients, maybe 2 or 3 times. We've had hundreds of female clients coming in, but we hardly get male come to us or men come to us. So I love where you talked about therapy. Yes, you may have family that are not quite supportive. Perhaps they are the ones that are actually triggering the mental health struggles that you're going through, and you're wondering how to survive. You can always get the help of a therapist, someone that you can trust, someone that you can feel safe with, because of course not all therapists are meant for you. The fact that the person is a therapist does not necessarily mean that the person is the best fit for you. So you can start trying to find whether you're best fit with the therapist, and then before you build a therapeutic relationship with the therapist, and you can then share your experience or your emotions with the therapist. And of course, I believe because we are professionals, I want to assume, because I know not everybody follows, but majority of us, most of us, because it is a profession and it's what we have ethical, things that guidelines that we have to abide by. We ensure that we offer therapy sessions in a non-judgmental way. Without, of course, we are bound by keeping everything you say to speak to us about secret. We can't, with the confidentiality and all of those things. So, of course, at Talk Mental Health, you have free counseling. If you want to offer free counseling sessions or services from us, please go to our website at www.talkmentalhealth.org to book your free counseling sessions. So let's continue to go. I've seen a lot of questions. There's a question here. I don't know if we should answer the question, because it has talked about financial challenges, which they mentioned, which is one of the things that usually would affect a man. So the question is, how would you help a man who doesn't have a support system having financial challenges, because it feels every business he tries, it fails, cars breaking down, he refuses going to therapy?
Let me jump on that.
Okay, good.
Let me take a deep breath before answering that question. Okay. The power of every man is what sits in his bank account. If he's weak in that front, he feels that he is incapable of doing anything, right? One of the major challenges that men go through is they walk alone. That's the first thing. Second thing is, if as a man you are in financial challenges and you count 5 out of your friends, and they are also in financial challenges like you're not going to get out of that situation. Community, you need to change your room immediately. Change your room. And one thing I've discovered, especially, I'm just going to focus a little bit into Africa, is that in Africa, we do not join communities. We work alone. We do not attend conferences like this, webinars like this, to learn these secrets. People pay a premium to go get knowledge, to get them out of the current situation. If I have headache today, I will go to the pharmacy to go buy the cure for that headache. If a man is financially down, the only way he can get out of that environment is to join community of business people who have the solution he's looking for. And you know the beautiful thing, these communities are everywhere in the world today. With a single app, you can have them on your smartphone. For example, there are community platforms you can download. For example, I was having some challenges at one time in my life. All I just did was to download a particular app that had millions of communities. I'm not going to name those platforms here because they've not paid us to advertise, right? But you can meet Dr. Adeola, she will support you. That's her specialty, right? Those platforms, you go in there and then you look for your own tribe. Stay among your tribe based on the concerns that you have, and you drop questions, and you see a lot of people dropping resources and information. There are a lot of free applications everywhere that allow free conferences where you can go to conferences around the world. Some of them are virtual like this, and then you learn how to get out of that financial mess. And I can tell you, when it comes to financial, anything that has to do with financial, if you are not providing value, you will not get financial reward. That's the period. That's like the foundation. If you're not providing value, right? Just like someone mentioned, it said the wealth of a country is known by the gross productivity, we call GDP, domestic productivity. The question is, as a man who is complaining about the financial, what are you producing? What value are you bringing to the table? So your wealth will only be equal to the value you bring to the table. And I can see from that comment that he's had several business trials and he has failed, right? You need to get into the room of people who have succeeded and learn from them. And that's why you need to go into those community, meet up with other people who have gone that. Okay, let me give you a typical example. There was a time in my business I was facing some certain challenge, right? And I went to someone, he's a senior, and I told him, please, do you know anyone who has gone through my line of business that is successful at it? And he said, oh, one of them used to be his student in his master's class because he was lecturing in a business school in the UK here. And he said, he is coming into UK from Nigeria for some vacation with his family. Let me ask if he can give you 30-minute slot to come have one-to-one conversation with him in London. And then I told him I won't mind. He did that connection and I went to him. And when I went to the man, I told him, sir, I have watched what you've done in your business. I can tell you these are people that I would not meet if I go knocking on the doors or probably going on some social media platform looking for them. But this other person gave me access to this person. And I stayed in the room with the person. I told him, this is what I'm doing in my business today. These are the failures I've faced. These are the challenges. And 30-minute slot turned out to be 2 hours. He gave me some secrets that I have never heard in any business school or anywhere in the university I've gone to. And I started to apply it gradually, and I started seeing increase and improvement. So remember, if you're not providing value, if you're not producing anything, you can't get out of any financial hardship.
Can I just add one or two lines on that? But yeah, I think I totally agree, right? You know, people will say that, see, your net worth is determined by your network. And I think I love what brother you talk about when you talk about that in Africa, we don't have this kind of tendency, you know, to create relationship. But somebody again will come out and say, but we are communal in Africa, isn't it? We are communal people. But what I've come to realize is that we are communal, but we don't have deep relationship, you know. So it's a different thing to be communal. It's a different thing to have a deep relationship. So personally, you know, I have decided to, when I get into an environment, for those that know me, of course, everybody most people know me on this platform here. For those that know me, when I get into an environment, the first thing I do is to decide my community. And it's not just community of, hey, good morning. No, community of people that share the same, you know, mindset with me, you know. So I think just for that person also is that, I mean, I'm not saying that the current network of friends you have are not helping, but again, from the result you've presented, it means that you need to look for a different community. You need to look for a different, or make new friends, you know, that will help your cause, you know, in this matter. I think I'll just stop there and allow.
Yeah, let me jump on that here. You see, if you're in that current situation, then that means your circle is cannot pull you out of where you are at the moment. The first thing I advise you is to look for a mentor you're ready to serve. Look for someone that's been where you want to go to. Serve the person. Let me tell you, people are at the top. When you come to serve them, there's no one that won't open the doors for you. Find someone that where you want to go to. Find the person. There's always on social media. Chat people up, watch their life, follow them up. When they comment on them, follow them. Gradually, you build relationship. You don't jump on it. It's a process. Make yourself visible on his web on his platform. With time, he's going to see you, and that way you can express and say, "Sir, please hold my hand. I need help." We have to be intentional about building our taking out. You see, when you from moving from where you are to where you want to go, it's not by just saying you're in financial problem. You keep repeating it. You can't be doing the same thing and expect a different result. That should be a mindset switch. The switch from your right now you're in a space of scarcity. You need to understand that you cannot get help if you are still within the mindset of scarcity. You need to open yourself and open your eyes and look at people around you. Look at people that you want to get to. Find mentors. Find mentors. Talk to mentors. Talk to people. No, it's not that like they just said you can't meet those people every day. Go online, find people that are living the life you want to live or the kind of thing you want to live. Gradually, keep chatting, keep chatting. One of these days, and you keep praying. Prayer is number one. Pray for God to open your eye of understanding, to give you visible to those people. Anything can happen, but we can't keep complaining and want a different solution. It's not possible. There has to be a change.
Wow, powerful, powerful. I hope this person has gotten the right answers, because there are different perspectives to this. But what I can summarize, or what's the summary of from all the three powerful things you've said, is that you need to change your inner circle. There must be a reason why you keep failing. So you need to check the people that you're with, and try to connect with people that have the things you desire. Start investing in that relationship. Of course, Sam has said you don't jump on it, you have to build it gradually. So don't just walk up to someone and say, okay, please, I need money or something. You have to be patient. Just try to enjoy the process. It's going to take a while before you get there, but you definitely get there if you're intentional. All right, Mike, I just wanted to ask this question. The other time you had given, if you have questions, by the way, if you have questions, please continue to drop your questions. The other time you gave an example of how that when you and your sister were going and someone tried to attack her, you defended her, right? And when you got home, you were praised because it was expected of you to do that. Not even consider whether you were just 14 years old, you said, whether you had the power or the strength to face the person, whether the person even had weapons. Nobody even thought of that. Nobody told you that you have to be careful. They said, oh, do that. And I just wonder what ways do these societal expectations of men, the parental expectations, societal expectations, cultural expectations from men, how do they contribute to mental health problems? And how can we address this pressure? It appears that the pressure is just too much for men out there to meet up with certain expectations. How do we then address this? First, how do we, how does it affect our mental health or their mental health, your mental health? And how do we address this?
Yeah, thank you. I think, again, is that I love going to the roots, right? That every individual, we are the product of our environment, right? So who I am today is kind of combination of whatever happened to me before. However, you can change that, right? You can't change that going forward. And for changing that, of course, you need to understand where you're coming from. I mean, when that happened, of course, I was praised. Another one, let me just share this one before I now really talk about how to start dealing with this. Is that this one was not 14. I wasn't 14. I think I was probably older a little bit. I took a picture, and I got back home, and I used to have a lot of uncles around me. And this picture, I smiled, right? And I felt I looked good, actually. And I remember one of my uncles just called me and said, "You men don't smile on pictures. You don't smile. You have to keep a straight face." I don't know where that came from, right? But let me say, but again, you see, well, I love to smile because I have always known that when I smile, I look better anyway. So, of course, I continue to do that, right? Yeah. So what the societal pressure does is that it defines you, and see, you don't know that what you are doing is a product of what you've learned or what have been put inside of you. You don't know, and that's why when people come to me and say, this is who I am, I feel so bad. Like, this is who the society has defined you to be. Who you are is who you decide to be. So the society has defined you to be this kind of aggressive person, and you say, no, this is who I am. Society has defined you to be this kind of person that shouldn't talk when under pressure. You say, no, this is who I am. No, this is who the society. And when I talk about society, I'm not actually talking about this big society. I'm talking about family setting. I'm talking about just where you grew up, right? I was listening to a YouTube program, and I think it was also for Father's Day, right? Where young chap and were interviewed with their dad, right? There was a female, there was some guys, some men also, and there was a guy that said something, and he said something to the dad that, you see, something happened when I was young. I think the story was that I saw you and my mom fought, and I've never seen that before. But when this thing happened, because I've not seen it, I was looking for somebody to talk to. But I never had the opportunity to talk to you because you were busy. When you go home, when you go out, I don't see you when you get back. And that has really defined who I am today. Today, I run away from having conversation with people when it matters. When I listen to that and I see how, the society can define an individual, to say, this is who you are now. But again, is that I'm happy that kind of person has been able to identify that there's something wrong, because, and being able to walk, and say, okay, this is who I want to be going forward. So now, society does this to everybody, right? Then you have to make a conscious decision that this is who I want. That is, of course, you have to have an insight. You have to understand that who you are now, either you are being a little bit aggressive, or you don't communicate well with your partner. You have to know that you can get better. So the question is, how do I get better? You need to learn if you have to learn. You need to also, of course, we talk about mentor, we talk about having people around you that would help you to be a better person. Because if you don't do that, the problem is that you bottle up a lot of feelings. You bottle up a lot of challenges. You don't share with people. What happens is that your risk of developing mental illness, of course, increases, right? And I know from what I've said, of course, Dr. 𝐤𝐤 will be able to say better, is that men, of course, everybody get depression, but also men get depression. But men are at higher possibility of completing suicide. What that means is that if a man gets to that point and says, I'm tired, and goes to get a rope to commit suicide, there's a possibility that he's going to complete it compared to the female counterpart. And that's how powerful those societal pressure has put men in a position not to be able to communicate what they are going through. I think I will stop there for now.
Yeah. Let me pick from where this
over to you. Well said, Mike. Over to you.
You see, when it comes where Dr. Mike was talking, I was just understanding. What about if the question is not about you finding yourself? What about the question is about you unlearning and blocking out the words you've heard from childhood? It's not about you becoming, but now it's all about you unbecoming what you have been put on. It's time to find yourself without any at external force, defining who you are. So the reason why I have mental health issues is because most people are living the life, they're fulfilling the dreams of their fathers. The expectations of the father did not become a doctor, so the child must be a doctor. My son, so most of them are living miserably. So right now they're not only living this, and maybe the guy is supposed to be an artist. Now the father is dead, he's left alone. So what I'm saying right now is, are you unbecoming and finding out who you are meant to be in the first place? It's one of the first things you need to find out who you are. That's the first thing, and find out what makes you happy. What do you do? What can you do that if you don't get paid, you can do it forever? Those are we have to separate and bring out. Mental health is real and depression is real, but do not stay pressed. Put your head above the waters and just, there are better days ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. You just like to follow up on what Sam just mentioned right now, and he picked on something about unlearning what has been coded inside you. Those who are in the IT space, once a code has been put in a program, right? In order for you to fix that bug, you need to do an audit, go through the entire system and look for that error code or that bug, and then you take it out. The question is, can every human go through that process of auditing their life? We might not have that expertise of getting that out, and I will highly recommend, if you are finding it difficult to figure that out, please seek professional help. And I think that is why Dr. Adeola is bringing this platform out. Seek professional help so they can assist to decode or remove all the errors that the baggage that has happened in your life over the years, and then paint it out to you that this is the problem. Are you able to fix this problem? Now, I would like to also talk about something that Sam said. An average man is looking for validation. A negative code has been put in you from childhood. You keep exhibiting some negative traits. You're looking for people who can tell you you're doing well. Sycophants. You do not want to go to people who will tell you this is wrong. And sometimes, because of our ego, when we have people around us who do not package that information well and throw it at us that this is your weakness, then you find the outburst. So when it comes to that part of seeking help, if you know that you cannot be vulnerable to others to tell them, I think I've missed it somewhere, and this my reality doesn't align with what the reality that I expect for my life, go meet professionals so that they can support you and they can give you all the they can signpost you to the right things to look out for and what to take out. Secondly, I also like to talk about what Dr. Mike has mentioned about the environment. There's an expectation, right, for men to have a particular status in terms of finances. Sorry, I'm going back to these finances because this is where it hits hard for men. This is where it hits hard for men. If a man's bank account is suffering, right, he will constantly look at himself. He will keep second guessing himself every time, especially if he's not productive, if he feels stagnant in a particular position for too long, or if he's doing what he hates, right, just to feed his family or just to survive. And you see, an average man is still in the survival mode. And until an average man comes out of the survival mode and get to the point where he's now flourishing, right, he will not think straight. Any business is a business to him. And then he will keep wasting resources. So, like we all mentioned here, for every man who wants to get out of this trap, right, of the rat race of finances, right, please, I would recommend visit a professional. Let them tell you exactly what your problem is. What is it that you're not doing right? Fix it and then flourish. It's as simple as that. It sounds like what we're saying right now might look like it's too good to be true. But the truth is, that's the truth. You need to look for people who will get you out of the situation. You can't keep suffering in headache and then you keep doing what other people are telling you to do. And you need to go out there and look for the pharmacies or go to the pharmacy and get the drug to get you out of that situation. Until you get help, you will remain that way. Now, someone has, oh, I've gotten to some peddlers who have given me some information over the years, and I'm still at my same position. Look for people who that's their specialty, and then they will support you and get you out of that situation. Yeah.
I mean, just to summarize, that's your last line. Follow person with no road. I'm sorry I'm using this, but just follow, because it's just the truth. It is the truth. I mean, people will tell me, oh, I've done this, I've done that. But have you actually sought the help of a professional? Have you asked for help from a professional? Some people will go to Dr. Google for help, for support. Some people would think because I've asked a friend, but is that your friend a specialist? Is your friend a professional in that regard? You have to get help from the right source. That's when, if you have tried that and it does not work, then we can then start to think of what is causing the problem. But if you have not done that, then you have not asked for help. You have not done the right things. All right. And then just to say that on learning, on becoming, the brain is so powerful. It's so powerful. And I don't know who needs to hear this. The brain can be changed. The brain can be rewired. Yes, from your childhood, they've put a lot of beliefs into you. They put a lot of beliefs into you. You've learned some habits. You've learned some belief system. It's affecting the way you do things now, because our thoughts would always affect our feelings, and then our feelings are behavioral. And that's why therapy works, because the therapy would work on changing your thinking patterns, the way you approach issues. Some of us are going around with a lot of distortions in the way we perceive things. There are a lot of biases in the way we view life. And because of that, it affected how we relate with people. Some people cannot even form meaningful, deep connections with people, just because they start to become paranoid. They feel like, oh, this person is against me. Oh, this person does not like me, just because the person was too busy to return your call. All of these are because you've had some experiences in your early childhood that is now forming your belief system now. You need to work on that. You can unlearn. So the brain can be rewired. You can unlearn and relearn. You unlearn the negative things and relearn the positive things. That's when you start to see improvements in the way you deal with life, in the way things will start to unfold in your life. All right, I know we've been about 1 hour, 13 minutes, and we're trying to see if we can push this till about 8:30. I don't know if it's okay by all our speakers. If you have questions, please put in the comment box. Yeah, cognitive distortions was what I was trying to describe there. Thank you so much, everyone, for dropping your comment. But if you still have more questions, continue to drop them. I just want us to move a bit to the issue of social media, because it's rampant now. It's the life now. How are we using social media to connect and communicate now? It's more like it's what the life is. But the question is not, what impact does social media have on men's mental health? Both positive and negative. Maybe we should start from the positive. It's always good to start from the positive one. So what positive impact does the social media have on men's mental health?
Yeah, let me just drop 3 major things that I think the positive. Number 1, quick support groups. You can get support groups very fast on social media right now. Communities are all over social media. You can just hide behind your screen and see what people are going through, and then people are advising them, and then you can learn from that. Second is that you can see people who are facing similar challenges on social media, people who have gone through the same challenges that you're going through and who have overcome, right? Social media has given us those platforms. So rather than follow the celebrities, right? Follow those people, right? Check online, look for content, like from people who have gone through similar. Just like, for example, I'm just going to talk about it. Talk with Sam, for example, is one platform that I know that some of my friends just go to and just say, let me go get the nugget for the day. Talk with Sam is here anyway, so he can, and just get the nugget for the day. Sometimes a dose a day can keep you, just like some people say, is it an egg a day or an apple a day, keep the doctors away. We feed our body, but we need to feed our mental health outside health also, and that's why we need to get all of those information. We get those and then help us. Social media has really been helpful. So I know a lot of people like to paint social media in the negative. For me, that is one of the places where I get most of my resources from, right? I have removed everyone from my social, anyone I'm following that is not adding value to me, who is showing me the latest design or putting unnecessary pressure on me. And I've just added people who will come on. Let me wake up in the morning, and when I slide on my TikTok, the first thing I say is talk with Sam. This is today's nugget for the day. Do this and get, and those are the kind of things that the social media is meant for, right? You look for, you have a problem, you identify where to get the solution, and you keep feeding yourself every time. If you swipe through your social media and after taking 10 swipes, all you see does not attend to your basic needs, right? Then there's a problem somewhere. And we know that with the advent of technology right now, whatever you say is being captured by we have a lot of gadgets right now picking everything, and they're putting all those information together, right? You can reprogram your social media to pick the things you want, right? I was watching a YouTube video some time ago, and the boss was a difficult boss in the office, and he stepped out and he left his phone, right? And the worker who wanted that boss get help in a particular area went beside the phone and started saying 5 steps to be a better leader. Was speaking into his phone consistently, so the algorithm can pick up all those information and start feeding him with information to help him, right? So that's the positive. I'm going to talk about the positive for now, and I'll leave my my fellow speakers to talk about it. Yeah.
Thank you, Deji. Who controls the media controls the mind. The media controls your mind. So what are you feeding your mind with? Like Deji said, you need to filter what you take in, because what you take in is what grows in you. So what are you taking in? If you want change, look for things that will change you, things that will change your mind, things that will change your mindset. The social media it has been a place where most people go to for informations, go to for just to get motivated, go to just to get information. There's nothing you're looking for that you don't get on the social media now. Nothing. Whatever you're looking for, you find. But the question is, what are you looking for? So you answer yourself, everybody on the call right now. What are you looking for? If you're looking for to better your life, you will find it. If you're looking to see people twerking, you will find it. If you're looking for whatever you're looking for, you find. So the question is, what are you finding? Over to you, Dr. Mike.
All right. So I mean, so personally, I mean, I don't have anything against social media, but my issue with social media, just like you say, is that I mean, algorithm and all those stuff is controlling people's life. You know, and I used to say that if you don't have the principle to decide what you want to see on social media, I mean, as a responsible man, then you have no business on social media. Now, why I'm saying this is that you should have that kind of level, and it goes this way also. There is a reason why some of us also we've decided that children at a particular age do not have access to social media, because we feel that they've not been able to develop to that level of having that principle to say, this is the number of time I want to spend on social media. This is what I want to see on social media. So as a man also, if you have not been able to have that kind of self-discipline to say, this is what I want to look at on social media, I think I would say you work on that discipline first. Now, coming back to social media, brother, you talk about a lot of, good stuff from social media. I totally agree, right? You know, mental health awareness everywhere. In fact, the fact that we're having this conversation, or the fact that we are having this kind of conversation at this point in time, is because of the fact that this is easily available on social media. People talk about it now, right? But again, now let's talk about the negative, you know, because we cannot run away from that, right? You know, I remember, because I'm not on every social media, I'm on few social media, right? but I do a lot of X, Twitter, what they call it, right? Then, I see a lot of cyberbullying. And cyberbullying is something that people laugh over it. A fellow man is bullying another fellow man, and you see people say that guy is a weak guy. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, go on.
All right, sorry. So, and you see that I saw someone, not really somebody so close to me, was so bullied that he left social media. I mean, he left that particular platform. And those are the things that come with social media, right? So you must get to that level and say, okay, this is what I want to feed myself in, just like what that speaker, talked about. Then secondly is that, and this is also my fear with social media, is that whatever you click, I don't know if everybody, of course, I'm not an IT person. Sam, Prodigy, they are all IT people, right? But this is what I've come to realize is that whatever you click on is what you see subsequently. See, I've muted a lot of people on my platform, on my Andrew. I've muted a lot of people, not because of the fact that I just realized that they are having a discussion in a particular way that does not help me. Now, why am I saying this is that as a man also, you don't have to see everything. You don't have, see, I'm a medical doctor, right? But there are some gory scenes I don't want to see. Not because I cannot take it, but it's at that point, I just feel that, no, I don't want to spend extra energy on this. So you must be conscious of who you listen to. Then the last one I want to talk about is, and this is really everywhere on social media, because I think it's also, it needs to be addressed, because we're having younger people coming up, and this issue of, this battle on social media, about masculinity and feminism, and I think it's pushing men to extreme toxicity, and this is what I see. I'm not going to talk about female or feminism. We're talking about men. It's pushing men to that extreme where I see people take some dangerous side view, and I start wondering, if I actually grew up differently. I mean, I didn't grow up, in kind of a perfect environment, but I also understand that there are some norms that were prevalent when we were growing up, right? So you see people take, kind of extreme. But one thing I've come to realize is that, you see, because of the fact that on social media, especially on some particular social media, you can go unknown. People don't see your picture. People don't even know your name, right? So you can just hide behind keyboard and just type anything, And the most dangerous one is even the fact that now, because of the fact that there is this reward that comes with some platform now, people now want to get that kind of engagement. So they don't care. So why am I saying all this? Is that as a man, you should know that all these things are there, and you should know how to sieve them out to get the right information that will help you to grow. If it's not helping you to be a better person, then you have to cut it off.
Let me just add to this negatives also. Apart from the cyberbullying, we also know about the pressure, right, that come with you feeling that you are not at par with other people on social media, right? People are showing off a lot of things that they want you to see. Underline that word, they want you to see. Secondly, we also know that a lot of people, just to get viewership, comment, and followership, deliberately become controversial, right, on social media. Some will propagate fake news or fake information. Also, there's this mindset of every person who goes on social media on this fear of missing out of what is new, right, in the market, what's the trendy and all of that. And those are some of the things that have been put out there. And I would like to give a kudos to anyone out there, people like Dr. Adeola, Sam, and other people who are helping sanitize the social media also. And if you're listening to me out there, you have great content. In order to clean out what is happening on social media, it's this, the way social media works is just the way your mind works, right? You put in garbage, you view, you see garbage, right? You put in good, you see more. So in order to put a lot of pressure on the negative content going out there, I know some people say, well, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be hidden behind the camera. I want to hide behind the camera. I don't want to be seen in public. But I think in one way or form, we need to keep putting out great content out there. Someone asked the question now, how can you tame suicidal tendencies in men if all that is pushed out there are negatives and you and I are not putting good things out there, right? What people keep saying over on social media will be the negatives. So it's a responsibility for every one of us, those who are watching this, that you need to put some content out there. That's the only way we can clean up the system, right? Let those who are putting negative keep putting negative out there. You keep putting the positive, and then people see it. Also, Dr. Mike talked about some of the algorithms that support whatever you view the most or you stay long on, right? The system has something called user usage. It just checks your user usage, time spent on a particular content, and then the algorithm of the system begin to push those contents out to you. You can trick the system. You can trick it, and all you just need to do is stay on the content you want to see most, and that's what the system will keep pushing to you. But when you go to other platforms where you see other things that are not relevant to you, right, and you stay long in it looking at those content, it'll keep pushing those information out to you. So for every one of us, we have a responsibility to keep pushing those positive content out there, right, so that we can suppress the negatives on the social media. Yeah.
Let me quickly answer that question about the to tame suicidal thought. Yeah, that person that's talking about the suicidal tendencies and all that, it's because when a man gets a point of suicide or suicidal intentions, is because he gets a pain where his soul can no longer take the pain anymore, and all he wants is just end it. So I advise you need to reveal it. The reason why the pain is because you're holding on to a particular event. And the only way you can hold on to that event is because if you let go of the pain, then that means you can't remember the event. It's either you find a professional or you look for someone that you can speak to. If you don't reveal it, you can't heal it. It's like a demon. The moment you talk about it, the demon leaves you. But you need to speak. And you need to speak now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the powerful insights that you've given us over the last couple of minutes, especially with regards to social media, and also to answer this question in terms of suicidal tendencies in men. Believe me, suicidal tendencies are actually more commoner in females. So females tend to attempt suicide more than men. So men who actually would want to take their own life would eventually do it. So they do it. Females are more likely to attempt, so make attempts, and by the methods that are used in terms of the attempt, you would realize that it's not necessarily that they don't want to take their own life, but you see that it's not severe enough to end their life. Say, for instance, overdose, but then for men, they will go to places where they won't be seen. I don't want to mention this so that men, I don't want to be seen as trying to promote methods of committing or taking one's life by suicide. But my point is that if we can manage these societal expectations, if you can break and smash stereotypes like we are talking about, if we can redefine men's mental health, encourage men to speak up about their struggles, create safe spaces for them. So I'm not talking about men alone. I'm talking about the women that love and adore these men. If you can encourage them to talk about their feelings, they've mentioned about financial issues. They've mentioned a lot of things now, things that often would hit them deep inside. So if you can let them be themselves, let them express themselves, give them a safe space to talk about their emotions, it won't get to the point where they start to think of taking their own life. At least it will be captured early. So if they seek the help of a professional early and they are not shamed or blamed for asking for help, they are likely not to end their life. They're likely not to get to the point where they feel like, well, the end is here. I can't take it anymore. All right. So, and I know that there's another question. I don't know if that can be highlighted again. There was a question about financial issues that came up when we're talking about social media. So I don't know if that could be, yeah. So what about societal expectations not differentiating between happiness and financial success or affluence? I don't know if we understand that question and if we can answer the question.
Yeah. So what I hear here is the expectation from the society, right? And how we differentiate happiness, financial success, and affluence. Now, you see, when people get jobs, right? Some of the things they write is they give you some KPIs, the key performance indicators, right? And they define what success looks to this role that you've taken. The whole idea is to tell you this is what the success journey look like. If you're not hitting these milestones, you are far away from success. Now, what the society has done is they've created milestones of what the journey to success should look like. However, individually, we all need to define what success looks for us. Some men, success to them is that they want to see their children go through life and then become adults, and then they are successful at whatever they are doing, career or business. Some men, all they see as success is they just want to have a good life and they're fine, right? Some men, their success definition is for them to have a lot of money sitting in the bank, right? And just wake up in the morning, check their bank statement, right? And then go back and they are good, right? So you need to identify what success looks for you first, right? And that is what will lead to your own happiness. And when it comes when it comes to the journey to success, just like what I just mentioned about milestones, you need to carve out several milestones for yourself. Now, what I'm saying might sound academic, but I need to explain in such a way. What I mean to a 5-year-old is celebrate your small wins. Have a journal. Write your success. What you have done today that makes you happy. If you don't have a book to write it, get your smartphone, take a walk, and record it and say, Deji, you did well today by being able to do this. Record it. And from time to time, when you feel down, play it to yourself. Write down those things that you want to achieve, right? Personally. And then those will be your milestone. At every time you ask yourself, where am I? What have I done? Who have I communicated to? Or what have I done to achieve, to get closer to this? So your simple wins, celebrate them. And that's what makes you energized and happy. You find a lot of men who are in jobs that they do not like just because they want to meet up with that financial success or affluence, right? And every day they go back home sad, but they do not have that milestone that they can identify as their own personal success, what makes them happy, right? And some of them might be that probably a few minutes to going to bed, he puts up a post out there on social media, right? Something nice, and that makes him happy. If that's what makes you happy, you need to continually do those little wins to constantly keep your head up. Otherwise, you keep finding yourself in that situation where you are constantly sad, you're unhappy, you keep chasing shadows, the rat race, and all of that, and then you don't find happiness or fulfillment, not happiness, right? So I think first off, set up a milestone for yourself, celebrate your wins, your small wins, and at the same time document them.
At the back of what you just said now, you said you should celebrate your small wins. That's what they call it, to-do list, right? I want you to create a to-be list. Your to-be list will be ticked. When you have been this particular, you tick it and you celebrate your wins. So create your to-be list rather than to-do list. You keep ticking your to-be, and finally you get your happiness.
Yeah, just a quick addition would be, I love how this is being summarized, right? I love it. Just to say also is that because, again, you know, I think I've said this before, you see, we came from a society where we celebrate outcome and not progress, you know? We celebrate what the result is and not the effort you are putting into it. I mean, I'm just still saying the same thing. But what I would say is that in as much, you know, that you want to really achieve something, but celebrate every effort you put into it. Every effort is as important as the outcome you are expecting, right? I think the problem is that you are waiting to really say, oh, I want to get it. So if I've not gotten that, no matter what I've done, I'm not there yet. Then you feel sad, right? But every day you put in effort, right? celebrate those efforts. Then lastly, I'll just say that, you see, I tell people this, you see, I'm not in competition with anybody. I'm just in competition with my goals, right? So set your goals and be in competition with your goals, right? So you don't, no matter what society is telling you, society say at 30 you should get a house. If that's not your goal, based on what you have put in place, don't you look at your goals and say, this is my goal, I'm in competition with my goal, and this is what I want to achieve, right? And I think, yeah, it will reduce a lot of pressure on you as an individual, as a man, and it will help you. And let me say this, that, you see, when you celebrate all this effort, it gives what I call a feedback mechanism. That feedback mechanism is what we call happiness. You know, because you wake up every morning, you are energized, and you want to go and do more. I think I will stop there.
Wow, wow.
So you have to round it up. It's never about the destination. Enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The journey is what matters. The process is what matters. Your effort matters. I love the fact that Mike said that you need to celebrate your effort. I mean, it doesn't matter whether the outcome was good. So I hope we got that. I hope we caught that, Rema. I mean, it's not about the outcome, because we are quite so addicted to achievement. We want achievement. We like to celebrate achievement. I've noticed that anytime I post something that's about achievement, maybe I finished, I passed an exam, or I did a graduation, I get a lot of comments, congratulations. But when it comes to normal information, things that would help people with their mental health, the engagement is usually very low. So it just tells me that people are just addicted to achievement. And it's all of us, not only just men, male and female, we are like that. But if we try to shift our focus from being outcome oriented to effort oriented, just imagine how happy we would feel. Like, it doesn't matter whether the result is positive or negative. As long as I have tried, I've read for the exam, or I've applied for the job. Even if they don't give me the job, I applied and I did the interview, I am celebrating myself. Wow, that's powerful. And I hope you caught that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And as we wrap up now, I hope we don't have any more questions. As we wrap up now, I just want to hear our final words, or our, final words for today's amazing session. So I'm gonna start from Sam. Yeah, sorry, Sam.
Like, I'll pick what Deji said and what Dr. Mike said. Baby step by step, step by step. Don't be in a rush. Celebrate your effort for today. Celebrate. The more we learn, the more we know. You have to be a student of life. If you need something different, you have to follow a different route. The things you need to live where you are, to get to where you want to be, it's all about your intentionality and the effort you're ready to put in. We create the life we want to live. So create your own life. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Over to you, Mike.
So I'll say, yeah, you see, you don't have control of whatever probably happened in your past, but you are responsible for who you become. I think I'll stop there.
Wow, that was short. Amazing. Short but on point. So over to you, Deji.
Okay, so my final words here will be, once you have healed, you are healed, please be the bridge to heal others. Secondly, communicate whenever you're going through any challenge. Like, there's a favorite, I think there's a football club here that says, never walk alone.
Liverpool.
Yeah, never walk alone. Man was never created to be alone. Go through history. No man achieved anything that lasts alone. So if you want to heal, if you want to get out of any situation, look for people who have gone ahead of you, people who have gone through the same problems you've gone through, and then learn from them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This has been amazing. Thank you very much. I want to celebrate every one of you that have been here from the beginning to the end. And for those that joined in between, and for those that watch the replay, those that are watching on YouTube, like we're here right now, those that are watching on LinkedIn, because it's live on LinkedIn as well, I can see Stella Marys, and also those that are watching on Facebook, I believe. Thank you so much for joining in, and I hope that this has been an amazing one. You can go back and watch the replay. It's live, it's there, the recording will be there. Just go back and watch the replay. There have been a lot of nuggets that have been put out there. Celebrate your efforts. You can relearn, you can unlearn negative past events and relearn the positive one. Work on your inner circle. I can go on and on and on, but just go back and watch the replay. If you want to smash the stereotype, if you want to change the narratives about men's mental health, if you want to even improve your own self as well, even as a female. So this is not only limited to males, it's just for males and females as well. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mike, for coming. Thank you, Sam, for coming. Thank you, Deji, for coming. I really, really appreciate you all. And I hope that if we call you again another time, because this conversation has not ended, I hope you know. So if we call you again another time, you will answer us and you come and share your wealth of experience with us. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye, everyone.